Namaste to all from Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch. Today we have with us Professor Brij Kothari ji. He has been talking to us about his journey and how his roots in education in Pondicherry and how he went on to study in the West. Today we are going to speak about his other projects. He has been an academic and social entrepreneur. So what we came across in our conversation is that you have been working on a project called Same Language Subtitling, and it was a very fascinating and a very innovative idea. Can you tell me more about it? What does it mean, and what does it in store for us?
Okay, so let me start with the problem. Okay, in India, 1 billion people watch TV every day, and you'll be surprised, for 4 hours on average. That's a lot of wasted screen time if from an education perspective. Most people would agree with that. What we're saying is that we can actually leverage it for reading development. Here's how. So about 600 million of those 1 billion people actually are very, very, very weak readers, and they need to improve their reading skills to a point where they can actually read texts meaningfully, newspapers, books, etc. Right? How do we do that? Right? If they're spending 4 hours in front of the TV, watching whatever they're watching, that's their choice. We're saying that if that same content had subtitles in the same language as the audio. So if it's a Hindi film, the subtitles of the dialogue and the songs will appear also in Hindi. Now you might say, but why you need that? They understand the language. Normally because it's not something that's thought of as subtitling. What we have done research on this is that when the brain constantly hears something and sees a symbol, and it's very consistent, that's what reading is. That association between sound and text keeps getting reinforced over time. And if they're doing it all the way from when they started to learn to read throughout their life, we are basically saying that there is no child in India or there is no person in India who will remain a weak reader. That's the big vision behind this, right? So because you are reading every day 1 hour, if you can guarantee that, then there is no way you can remain a weak reader. So that's the big idea here with same language subtitles.
But these days, like we have so much of media consumption, as you said, you were giving us the statistics. But we already have those titling which we have. Like whenever we watch a show, we have which language to choose. So how does that fall in the same category as the work which you do, or what is it?
Yeah. So broadly, same language subtitling for us applies in 2 big buckets. One is linear television. And more people in India today watch television than they have access to digital technologies. Okay, firstly. So let's say 70% don't have access to the Netflix and Hotstar, etc., right, that you're thinking about. So let's look at the 70% first. So they're watching their shows, their serials, their children's programming, whatever. So on that, there is no option as such to turn on and off the subtitles, right? Because we are saying put it on so that the reading keeps happening, and that's already starting to happen. You might see that, and that's because probably we've been pushing same language subtitling in policy, etc. On the digital side, what you raised, it is happening to some extent in one language, in English. So every English movie has English content. Even on television, every English movie has English subtitles.
Right.
So you might ask, why is it not there in Indian languages? Right? Now that on the digital side, because we've been pushing this through policy and also directly with the digital platforms, streaming platforms, they have now started adding same language subtitling to non-English languages, which is basically, in our case, in all Indian languages. They're starting to do that on new films.
Right.
But the vast stock of old films still need that. And remember, in India, we have 23 official languages. Right? So what we're saying is all languages should actually always have the subtitles in the same language, no matter where it goes. As an option, at least on digital technology, it's an option. And what we're saying is not just for Indian languages, actually.
Okay.
We want to do it in India first. That's our focus. But we're saying African languages, world's languages. Why not have same language subtitling in that language, no matter where the content is? So these television networks and these digital platforms actually have something huge as a resource to totally get the world reading every day. And this is a power that they have not yet used.
Right.
So we are pushing that direction.
Yeah, like when I was listening to you, there was one question which was coming to me. Will you not face any sort of resistance from the audience that I already know the language? Will it not be distracting to also see the same language? Because usually what I've seen, even in my own case, if I don't understand the language, then I would look at the subtitles to understand. And your intention is coming more from the education perspective. So how do you align that idea of understanding in education and how have you worked on it?
Right, it's a good question. So maybe a lot of your audience here has been watching English films with English subtitles. Maybe initially you felt this was, ye kya ho raha hai? What is happening?
Right.
But later on you got used to it. Later on you started liking it. So one is habit formation.
Right.
So if you can form the habit for acceptance of this, so there will be a slight phase where people might feel, what is happening here? Right? The other part is explaining to people. The moment we have found that, at least in the villages, in small towns, the moment parents get it, that this is happening because for my child's reading and language learning, that's the other big piece. And also the third piece is media access among the deaf. Okay, so there are three broad reasons. The moment the viewers understand that there are these three values, automatically people start to support it. The third is that, you see, media access works also for the hearing, not just for the deaf and hard of hearing. I'll explain how. Every TV viewing household, somebody is watching TV, somebody else is talking, somebody else is cooking, somebody else is. So it's always a context in which there is background noise. And you can't, arey chup raho, they don't. So everybody's telling everybody, thoda shant ho ja, mere ko apna, I want to listen to my news. Right? So please be quiet. Now, if the subtitles were there on whatever they're watching, movies or whatever serials, at least there is a sense that, okay, I'm still following what is going on. In fact, you might have noticed some of the ads these days that come, they carry same language subtitles right now. Why are they doing it? It's because people have now started to mute the TV when the ads come. So the ad companies are saying, okay, if you're going to mute, I still want you to understand what is happening on that thing. So they will put the same language subtitles, so at least you will know what the ad says. So effectively, there are multiple reasons. By and large, people can live with that if they know on balance. I mean, wouldn't you or anybody, once you know that this could get 600 million people from weak readers to readers in about 2 to 3 years, and that's, I'm quoting based on evidence that we've gathered. If in 3 years, if you can transition that many people to better and better reading skills, and over a lifetime, even more fluent skills, I think every Indian would say, what's the problem then? I mean, sure, I can live without, maybe my viewing pleasure is gone down by 2%. They may say that, some people, even that they don't say, but they may say that. But once you know the bigger vision behind it, you'll accept it.
Yeah, I think more from a perspective of learning. And it's like how we have also talked about education is becoming more of action oriented. So that is one idea to influence that.
Yeah.
And I think it also closely merges and fluence with the idea of what you're doing about the BookBox. So would you like to speak about the other venture, which is?
Okay. So BookBox is, we're taking the learnings from our experience of same language subtitling on mainstream television, and all that evidence and learning, we're applying it to children's content.
Okay.
So idea is very similar. Children love, all over the world, children love to watch cartoons and animation. In many parts of India, in fact, most parts of India, if you go to a house and ask, is there a children's book in your house? And they will say, we have textbooks. But they won't say, we have children's books. And a child not growing up with children's books is sort of basically very sad. Okay, and we need to do something about it. Either you get the books there. So it's not a either or. We are not saying this is better or What we are saying is either we find ways to get a lot of children's books in front of children in their language at a price point they can afford. This problem we have not solved. So this is the other alternative, or a complementary alternative, which is what we're saying is that an animated story which is narrated and the subtitles come of the narration in the same language. We've created the book experience or a close to a book experience. I'm not going to say it's better again, but it's a close enough experience where a child who's watching will automatically start reading, automatically start picking up vocabulary also. So reading skills are improving, vocabulary skills are improving, even enunciation skills are improving. Because now you know which word is enunciated how. So this can work for all the children who want to become good at their mother tongue in Indian languages, but also for English, where there's a huge demand also. So the idea is that once the moment a story, we call it an Annie book, one Annie book is created in one language, automatically you can replace the narration and the text in another language. So the same book, Annie book, is now available in all of India's languages right now. So we've done it in Santali, we've done it in Bhili. Now show me in the market who has a Bhili children's book that if I want to buy, I cannot even get it. We will get it in Hindi, a few major languages. That also is not that many. So what we're saying is that all these children's books can go in all of India's languages. And the beauty of this is that it's free to the child. The moment it's on TV, the moment it's on streaming platforms, or the moment it's on YouTube, which is where a lot of it is. So it's free to the child. And you can watch it on your mobile because that's where people spend their time, or on any screen.
So have you got an opportunity to interact with your end users and see like how are they receiving it and what are their thoughts on maybe the parents of the child or any children you have spoken to?
Yeah, so we've done studies on this, and now there's a group educational initiative that has also taken it to government schools actually as part of their MindSpark platform. So a lot of children are getting this. But what we've done in Delhi schools, government schools, is we had 5 schools that for a year saw the animated stories, but without the subtitles. And we had another set of 5 schools. They saw the same animated stories on the same kind of cycle 3 times a week, but with the subtitles in the same language. And then after that, we measured the reading skill improvement in this group. And the group the schools that actually the children saw with the subtitles in the same language, their reading skills actually advanced very fast. Now, this is evidence-based, policy making that we're trying also, that if you had content like this for children. So now what we're saying is even this BookBox experience is tied intimately to cartoons that children watch on television shows. So if we can achieve, with BookBox, we have the advantage that we can actually create the kinds of stories that we want. Rooted in India, let's say, rooted in the value system that we like to, obviously want our children to grow up with. So we have a little bit more of I would say, ability to influence that part. On television, we don't have that ability, but we're still saying you should do that there also.
No, absolutely. So what will be your one message to our audience in terms of how can this help the future generation? Like how we keep coming back to the grassroots, that how early education is important. So what will be that one message you would like to give, that start as early as possible and just wait to go what the future holds?
Definitely, the more good resources we can make available to parents of small children and let them know the science behind some of this. So they will then leverage it locally in their own way. So that's one way to kind of move the needle on that. But think about this. If I take away one educational skill of yours, okay? I take away your reading skill. Where are you?
Sure.
What does Google mean to you? What does Facebook mean to you? Twitter mean to you? Think of that. So this reading skill is so fundamental to access information, access knowledge, and build on it on your own capacity, right? So it goes to the heart of self-capacity, self-empowerment, and self-learning for life. We sometimes, as readers, as people who are privileged to have had a reasonably good education, don't understand that the skill is how valuable that is. You take it away, and then you suddenly realize, actually, sometimes it can happen. You can have an accident and something happens to your brain and you can't read anymore. You will get depressed. So many things are lost from it, right? And because the world has now become very different. Earlier, everybody didn't have access to all this information. Today, you, me, the person in the village, all of us have the same mobile phone in our hands in terms of access to information. That's a beautiful thing. But if you don't give them access in terms of cognitive access, which would be reading skills in this case, in their own language, then you're not really giving them access. You're only giving them physical access, but you're not giving them cognitive access.
Yeah. I think it's just one last question just coming to my mind, which I want to know your view. How do you see it in relation to the translators, which the internet makes us feel available? Like when you were talking about reading, I recognize that there are some languages, of course, I don't know. But if I can say these people have this Google Translator, no? That I put it in the language which I can read, at least I can hear the other language if I may not read it, and it can help me at least survive. So is there any like contradiction to it or something like that? Like how does that play in your system?
No contradiction. In fact, the more tools we have, the better. The more tools we have. We all use translation tools, even though we are readers, right? But there are so many languages in which we don't read, right? So we are all, so every tool that comes. But if you take away reading skills in any, in any language that you could read, you are actually nowhere, right? So Google Translate can replace or converting text into audio can replace that. I will still be very, very shackled in some ways because I will not have access to this world of information, right? So just think about it. If one day you don't read anything, just mentally say, okay, today I'm going to access the world's information, but I don't have a reading skill. Try that for a day and see where you stand.
Yeah, I think it brings our attention to something which we take for granted.
Yeah.
Very informative in that sense and something to take back. And we'll definitely share with our audience the link to the BookBox and they can have much more access to the literature. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, sir.